I was throwing around the word chi like it was no big deal. And Kendrick was like, hold the phone. What the hell is this? What did you say? Hi, thanks for having me on the show.
What would you say if someone asked you, what is the best color for a bedroom?
Well, I think that asking what is the best color, I don't think there's any such thing, because the definition of what best is, quote unquote, is going to be different for everyone. I really feel like what you may consider is the best color is probably not what I consider to be the best color. And you're the perfect person to talk to, about this subject, because as you and I both know, it's really dependent on our elemental makeup. It's really dependent on our personal feng shui and our personal qi. And so that's where working with someone like you or I can really come in handy, because we can look at those facets. We see this every week on our weekly calls, is that, we'll look at pictures and we all have different objectives. We all have different opinions, and some of us really like them and some of us really don't. And it's based on our personal feng shui. So I think that, it is a loaded question to say, oh, this is the best color. I think there's so many variables that have to go into that question. And I know your audience doesn't want to hear this. They just want to, Sherwin-Williams, this number. And sure, there are some, basics that we could say that could work for anyone, but I don't really agree with that. I think that you really have to look into things that you really enjoy and things that you really love, and then look into the feng shui as to where does your bedroom fall. What are the facets that are going on around your bedroom? Like, is it in the back of the house? Is it in the front of the house? And what is outside of your house? Are you in an urban city or are you out in the country? So there's a lot of things that have to be taken into consideration before you answer that question.
There are three things that you would take into consideration when you were determining what color a bedroom should be. And I'm talking about, could be wall paint, it could be all elements of the bedroom.
Sure. I think a lot needs to go into answering that question. I think that you have to take into consideration your personal likes. I always think of my mother with a question like this. Like, since I have been born, her favorite color has been mint green. And so I don't really take into consideration what the trends are. I don't really take in consideration what her elemental makeup is. I know that it's going to be a home run if we go with mint. And so you always want to take into consideration the things that you love, because that's going to elevate your chi and that's going to elevate how you feel. If you love a color, you're going to broadcast that. And so first and foremost, that's going to be the most important thing to me, and how it makes you feel. I think the other thing, which we were just talking about, is just taking into consideration where your home lands. Like, where is it located in your home? I think, and that's where working with someone like us can really benefit you. But really having an understanding of where the home is located, front of the house versus back of the house. And, we take into consider things like yin and yang. So depending on where the location is of your house could really be indicative of what kind of color we're going to consider. And then I think, just looking at, okay, now that we know where that location is, we know some of your favorite things, what are some colors that we could take into consideration that are going to help or benefit or boost the feng shui, to make you better, to make the home better, to make the occupants, your entire family better. Those are usually the things that I will take into consideration. So again, a loaded question, no hardcore answer, but it's not, I see this all the time, and I'm sure you do too as an interior designer. It's like people run to the hardware store and they pick up a color and they're looking under the worst lighting, and they're like, oh, this is great, we'll throw this up. And then they do, and then they hate it. And it's like, oh shit, I don't like this color. And it's like, there were a lot of things, there were a lot of steps. It's not just a matter of picking a color. You have to really be including all of these questions and taking all of these variables into consideration.
Yes. Good. No, I agree. And I mean, so we agree that it's not easy to come up with a color. So instead of saying, that there's one perfect color, what would you say? Let's come up with an example. Let's say there's someone that has very low chi, okay? And they're maybe kind of drawn to darker colors in general, or they've got a lot of water energy, just a lot of kind of depressed energy, slow energy, yin energy. What would you say would be, colors, schemes, something that you would consider examining for them?
I would probably look into if they are very yin. Obviously, I would try to choose a more yang color. I would probably look at some earthy yellow colors to bring some vibrancy. And that's, you made a good point that, if our chi is low, the other thing that I usually take into consideration is location. Somebody who is in Seattle or a place that gets a lot of cloudy weather, that's something else that I need to take into consideration versus someone who lives in the desert and gets sunshine 360 days a year. So really looking at, again, going back to that fundamental of how does this color make you feel? If you are, running at 60, 70, 80% yin, you are going to be lethargic. You are going to be depressed. So colors that are going to make you feel more vibrant are probably going to be yellows. Green would be a fantastic color. It's very earthy. It's very woody. And you can't go wrong with nature. So that would be a great thing to help you boost your chi and, like we know, get out inside, to the sunshine and start to make yourself feel better. But I think that looking to colors that are going to make you feel really naturey would be a great place to start. I probably wouldn't pick blues. I would think that would be a little bit, too dark. If you get into those dark blues, those dark blacks, things like that, that can take you kind of down into the abyss. And I think that you're going to need stuff that's going to make you feel more rooted to where you're more expansive.
Yeah, no, exactly. So lifting the chi, using the elements, and once, when you know a little bit more about the elements, knowing which elements are more yang and which elements tend to be things that lift the chi, and all elements are great. This is another thing. Not one is worse than the other. They all come together to balance. Okay, just one tip that you would use when choosing color in the bedroom. Just like one thing, if someone's going to go out today and decides that they want to redo their bedroom, what would be one takeaway?
I would always go back to how it makes you feel. I mean, all of these words that we are using today, I think could be very intimidating to a layperson who doesn't really know a lot about Feng Shui. And, you and I practice a very heavy kind of Feng Shui. It's deep rooted in a lot of energetic things. And so I think that trust your intuition. You really do know. I think that what happens is we tend to question ourselves and then we get stuck in our head and then we get paralyzed and can't make a decision. And that can be an elemental thing too. But I think that the takeaway is that if you have a color that really makes your heart sing and it really makes you feel good and you freaking love it, I mean, that's your intuition telling you that that's the color that you need.
Yeah.
And that may change a year from now or 2 years from now. But right now, if that's the color that makes you feel good, whether it's green, blue, black, yellow, whatever it is, that's the color that your system needs right now to boost your chi and to make you feel good.
Yeah, that's great.